Vivian Patrick Campbell is a Northern Irish rock guitarist. He came to prominence in the early 1980s as a member of Dio, and has been a member of Def Leppard since 1992. Campbell has also worked with Thin Lizzy, Whitesnake, Sweet Savage, Trinity, Riverdogs, and Shadow King. Biography Youth and early career. He began playing guitar at the age of 12. He has played for Sweet Savage, Dio, Trinity, Whitesnake, Riverdogs, and Shadow King. He also played on Lou Gramm's second solo album Long Hard Look. Sweet Savage. Sweet Savage was an NWOBHM band that Campbell joined when he was 15. The band members in Sweet Savage included Campbell on guitar, Trev Fleming on guitar, David Bates on drums and Ray Haleo on bass and vocals. The band influenced Metallica, who covered the song Killing Time as a B-side for their The Unforgiven single. It was also included on Metallica's Garage Incorporated covers album. In 1981 they released an EP consisting of 4 BBC radio sessions and their first single Take No Prisoners. Take No Prisoners included the song Killing Time. Much later in the late 90s, after Metallica covered Killing Time, there was interest in Sweet Savage and they released an album without him. Campbell left Sweet Savage in early 1983 to join Dio after Jake E. Lee was offered Randy Rhoads' spot as Ozzy Osbourne's lead guitarist on December 1982, when Ronnie James Dio was forming his own band. Vivian Campbell later guested on Sweet Savage's cover of the traditional Irish song Whiskey in the Jar. Dio. When Campbell joined Dio, Ronnie James Dio, Vinny Appice, and former Rainbow bassist Jimmy Bain had most of the songs to the album Holy Diver already written, including Don't Talk to Strangers, Holy Diver, and Rainbow in the Dark. With the global search for a guitarist now concluded, this finalized the band's first lineup. The album was a success and included Dio's biggest hit, Rainbow in the Dark. A concert video, called In Concert, from this tour was released. The band also played at the Monsters of Rock Festival in 1983. Dio returned to the studio to write and record the follow-up to Holy Diver. This album was called The Last in Line and charted at number 23 in the US. The Last in Line, We Rock, and Mystery all became radio hits. A concert video from this tour called A Special from the Spectrum was released. The follow-up Sacred Heart was also a success, and managed to peak at number 29 in the US. It featured the hits Rock'n'Roll Children, and Hungry for Heaven, the second of which was also included on the soundtrack to the film Vision Quest. Also around this time the band recorded the song Hide in the Rainbow for the Iron Eagle soundtrack, the last song Campbell would record with Dio. A live EP Intermission was also released. Craig Goldie played on the disc's only studio song Time to Burn, and overdubbed the rhythm parts on the live tracks. Campbell and the band parted company in 1986 and he joined Whitesnake. He was replaced by Goldie. However, Campbell had a feud with Dio. In 2003, Campbell said, "Playing in Dio never mattered to me and still doesn't he's an incredible talent, but he's an awful businessman and way more importantly, one of the vilest people in the industry." Campbell later stated that he regretted making this statement. Despite this, Dio stated in an article in Hit Parader that he wished Vivian the best. Whitesnake. In 1987 Campbell joined the British hard rock band Whitesnake. Thin Lizzy and Tigers of Pan Tang guitarist John Sykes wrote and played the lead and rhythm parts on the multi-platinum selling album simply titled Whitesnake, but was fired by the band's leader, David Coverdale, after recording was completed. Campbell was recruited to replace Sykes in the new, glammed-up Whitesnake Coverdale had put together to conquer MTV and American audiences. Other members included Adrian Vandenberg, formerly of Teaser and Vandenberg, Tommy Aldridge of Ozzy Osbourne and Black Oak, Arkansas fame, and Rudy Sarzo, who had become hugely successful playing with Ozzy Osbourne and Quiet Riot. While he didn't record an album, he replaced John Sykes' guitar solo on the Give Me All Your Love 1988 single remix. Campbell was fired from Whitesnake after the band's 1987 1988 World Tour. Lou Gramm, Riverdogs and Shadow King. After leaving Whitesnake, Campbell would go on to play on Lou Gramm's second solo album, Long Hard Look. Though Graham toured in support of the album, Campbell would not join him. Now a free agent in the business, Vivian joined the group Riverdogs after being tapped to produce their first demo. As an official member of the band, he would contribute to their eponymous debut album in 1990. Vivian once again teamed up with Lou Gramm in 1991 to join Graham's new band Shadow King. After a single eponymous album, one music video, and one live show, Vivian left the group to join Def Leppard. Shadow King soon disbanded following Campbell's departure as Graham and bassist Bruce Turgon would return to Graham's former band Foreigner. Def Leppard. In 1992, Campbell joined the rock band Def Leppard, after the release of their Adrenalize album. He replaced Steve Clark, who died on 8 January 1991. According to fellow guitarist Phil Collen, Campbell was able to lock right into the position very naturally by simply being himself. Campbell made his debut with the band by playing a show in a Dublin club to approximately 600 people. A week later, April 20, 1992, the band took the stage at the Freddie Mercury Concert for Life, with their new guitarist. They performed Animal, Let's Get Rocked, and the Queen classic, Now I'm Here, with Brian May. Despite his treatment for Hodgkin's lymphoma, Campbell continued to tour with Def Leppard during summer 2013, and he and the rest of the band have returned to the stage in summer 2014 as co-headliners with Kiss. Side projects. Aside from his work with Def Leppard, Campbell has played on the side with Clock and Riverdogs. In 2005, he also released a solo album produced by Tor Yarms called Two Sides of If, which features cover versions of his favorite blues tunes and one original blues song. It features two of Rory Gallagher's well-known songs, Messin' with the Kid, and Calling Card. It also features ZZ Top's Billy Gibbons guest appearing on the songs Like It This Way, and Willin' for Satisfaction, and Joan Osborne guest appearing on the song Spoonful. The album also features drummer Terry Bozzio. In September 2009, Campbell agreed to join his lifelong favorite, Thin Lizzy. In May 2010, it was announced to the world at large that Campbell would be joining Scott Gorham and other musicians in a new, reformed version of Thin Lizzy. On May 11, 2011, Campbell released a solo song available for free download. The track is called Seems So Real with Campbell on lead vocals and guitar. He's joined by Robert Cosio, Lou Castro and Mark Schulman. Produced by Robert Cosio and mixed by Ronan McHugh. Personal life: Campbell currently resides in Southern California and has two daughters with ex-wife Julie Campbell. After getting divorced, Campbell married his longtime girlfriend Caitlin Fainouve on July 4, 2014. He also plays soccer regularly with Hollywood United FC, a team composed mostly of celebrities and former professional football players. On June 10, 2013, Campbell said that he has Hodgkin's lymphoma. He wanted fans to be aware of the new aerodynamic hairstyle. I don't want anyone to be so shocked by my new look that they ask for a refund. Although in November 2013, Vivian announced that he was in remission from Hodgkin's lymphoma, he announced in June 2014 that the remission was a little bit premature. It came right back. On July 31, he announced that his cancer is again in remission. In June 2015, Vivian announced that the remission turned out premature again and it came right back again. Equipment. At the beginning of Campbell's career, his main instrument was a Les Paul with Di Matteo pickups. This guitar was used on Dio's Holy Diver, as can be seen in the booklet pictures. As so-called superstrats became increasingly popular among metal guitarists in the mid-1980s, Campbell switched to a Charvel. Vivian recounts in the October 1985 issue of Guitar for the Practicing Musician that he read in a Gary Moore interview about Grover Jackson and Charvel. He subsequently contacted the company. Grover came down to a rehearsal for the first album and gave Vivian a guitar. He had it repainted with the Holy Diver artwork. Vivian used a combination of Duncan JB Customs and Invaders for the Last in Line tour. For the Sacred Heart album he started using the Charvel pickups, which were a lot like the Duncans but hotter, to quote Vivian from the article. At around the same time he filmed an instructional video in which he plays a blue BC. Rich Street, a model first produced circa 1986. When he joined Whitesnake, Campbell acquired a pink, red and yellow Rand, a high-end 27-fret guitar handmade by Rand Havener, a former BC. Rich employee. This guitar featured innovative sculpted wings, almost no neck heel due to its neck-through construction, a pointy, very droopy headstock, a Powell ferro fretboard, custom inlays, a Floyd Rose bridge, and 2 Tom Anderson custom pickups. It can be seen in the Still of the Night video. Another Rand was used in the video for Is This Love. During the same period, Campbell had Dallas area builder Buddy Webster make him a custom guitar from Warmoth body parts. This instrument, nicknamed the Shredder, had a Strat-shaped mahogany body with polka dot graphics, a 24-fret maple neck with ebony fretboard, a pointy reverse headstock, and 2 Seymour Duncan humbucker pickups, a full shred in the bridge position and a JB in the middle position. The bridge was a German Floyd Rose. A deal was then set up between Webster and Kramer Guitars, and the shredder went into production under the name Night Swan, which had the ping-pong inlays on its fretboard. Vivian signed with Kramer as an endorser, and there are a few ads showing him with this guitar. He played the original shredder through Whitesnake's 1987–1988 World Tour. After leaving Whitesnake, Campbell initially played a custom-made Tom Anderson Strat-style guitar in the Riverdogs and Shadow King. When he joined Def Leppard, Campbell had more custom Andersons built, which he used throughout the Adrenalize tour. During the recording of Slang, Campbell switched back to Les Pauls and currently continues to play Gibson guitars but is not an endorser. Discography with Sweet Savage Take No Prisoners / Killing Time, Whiskey in the Jar. With Dio Holy Diver, The Last in Line, Sacred Heart, the Dio EP, Intermission, at Donington UK, Live 1983 and 1987. With Whitesnake Give Me All Your Love. With Lou Gramm Solo Long Hard Look. With Riverdogs Riverdogs, World Gone Mad. With Shadow King Shadow King. With Def Leppard Adrenalizer Euro single versions, Retroactive, Slang, Euphoria, X, Yeah. Songs from the Sparkle Lounge, Mirror Baller Euro Live and More, Viva. Hysteria, Def Leppard. With Clock Through Time. Solo Two Sides of If. With Last in Line Heavy Crown. Guest appearances Gochthard a Gochthard, LA Zoo, Bunny Brunel, Tone Center, 1998, Steel Panther a All You Can Eat a guitar solo on, Gangbang at the Old Folks Home. References. External links, Vivian Campbell a official site, 2005 Vivian Campbell interview by Brian D. Holland for Modern Guitars magazine, Vivian Campbell at defleppard.com, Campbell's 2011 Def Leppard guitar rig and gear setup. GuitarGeek.com